let's talk about the 4 Fs. Okay. Because this is kind of like your philosophy on like how to be a successful man in life.
Yeah, and look, I don't think it's anything new.
No, it's nothing new, but I just like the way you phrase it.
Yeah, so I say, there's a 4 Fs. There's fitness, finance, fighting, and fucking. If you can get that shit down, you're going to have a smooth ass life, bro.
Yep.
And I've pretty much lived my adult life with those things in mind. Do
you think there's a particular order in which you have to kind of conquer those?
I do. I feel like it could be argued when it comes to the fighting, but I think fitness is first.
Right.
I think that actual fighting is very primal. Explosive strength matters. Athletic, things like that. I actually had an argument with somebody not too long ago. They were talking about a women's UFC. I probably should not say this. A women's UFC champion, being a buddy of mine, and he's like, I wouldn't want to meet her in a parking lot. And I forget which one it is, but she's 5'2", 135 pounds. And I said, listen, man, no disrespect. I know she's an absolute killer. If she caught you on the chin, sure. But out of 10, I'm picking me. I'm 6'3", 225 pounds, bro. And I have trained.
So in a fight, size absolutely matters.
It does matter, man. And that's not to be hard or anything like that. And it's complete respect. Any small man could knock me out. They catch you on the chin, bro. It's over.
Absolutely.
And I've been in fights. I don't think it's cute to talk about it like you're shit's serious. I've bled, bro. So I definitely respect that, and I respect fighters too, very much. But I do think fitness first, and then it's kind of how you want to deal with those last 3, because the first one with fitness goes into all of them. I think they're very close, but
the discipline from fitness allows you to have discipline in everything else.
And everything else, because you have to go through physical pain.
Yeah.
And you have to do something that you can't buy fitness. It's like swag. You can't buy swag.
Can't buy swag. Okay.
Yeah. So so then it's close. I'd probably go, you could say fighting, finance, fucking, but I could see you switching that out and making a great point for any.
I mean, I switched that up.
I would put fucking last, just because I feel like if you have all those other things in order, your game. And because when I say fucking, I mean, of course, literally, but also in general, just your overall experience and your interaction with women in general. I think it's very important. So if you have those other things in line, the last one fucking becomes substantially easier. It's just the middle two that I think you could make an argument fighting and body language, like having body language when you know how to, protect yourself, so you're not small. But also I think finance can handle a lot of things as well. So,
guys will carry them, like a guy who has a lot of money in the bank carries himself a certain way. And Absolutely. So does a guy who can beat the crap out of you.
Right.
He also carries himself a certain way. But I feel like at least from the people I know, they kind of carry themselves a little bit differently.
Absolutely.
Like if you have a guy who can fight but isn't necessarily full of money, he carries himself a certain way. And a guy who is loaded with cash but is out of shape, he carries himself a different way.
Yeah. I think that both of them are kind of lopsided though, because I've met fighters, and we were joking about this. It's like I don't want to go train at a gym that I can't catch staph infection in.
Yeah,
it's so true.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that's where the true fighters are. And a lot of times all the fighters I've known, they're generally really, really, really broke. So they really have to suffer in some ways to be able to train all day, all the time, so they can reach that dream, and it's very admirable.
Yep.
I've been really, really broke training for my dream, in business, so I get that. And then I say this a lot: is I absolutely would not trade places with Zuck.
Yeah.
You can be as rich as you want. If you're a fucking dork, it's worthless. Or if you're a fat and old man, it's worthless. So
because those are things you can work on.
You can work on
as well. But that's it's not like if you're fat or if you're a dork or whatever it is. It's not like you are resigned to that fate.
No.
That's the consequence of a lifetime's worth of actions or inaction.
Right.
More importantly,
right,
and not working on different areas of your life.
Absolutely.
So all these things, that's a beautiful thing about being a man. So
you have a choice.
You have the choice to be amazing.
You absolutely have a choice. Your currency can actually be your value can actually be built. And
it's compound interest.
It does.
It compounds. It gets better every goddamn time.
It does. Dude, one of the best compliments I've ever gotten is a girl told me recently. She goes, 2 things. as a man, I think you get better looking every year. And as a man, I think you become a better man every year.
Yeah.
And that's absolutely an option for any man.
If you are working on yourself.
Right.
If you're not,
Yeah.
then it goes the complete opposite way.
And that comes down to the voices in your head, man. I always say that every person, but every man has two voices. He's got a bitch voice and a grown-ass man voice.
Yeah.
And the more that grown-ass man voice can say, shut the fuck up, go to the gym anyway, shut the fuck up, do it anyway, the smaller that bitch voice gets, almost to the point where it drowns them out, you know? And so, to me, I really think about it in that way. It's like I got these two conflicting voices, but my spirit, who I am as a man, is actually that strong voice. And I'm about to beat that other part of me into submission.
Yep.
And that's how I look at it, man. And it's got to be that way, because if it's not, you start letting shit slide. And I don't think discipline is actually a straight line, but I do think it's more of a, here's the line, and here's how far I'm willing to get away from it, another line. And so I better get the fucking line again. You know, it's like we were talking about last night. We're about to take a trip. Well, dude, I feel like I'm kind of close to that top part of the line as far as like where my body is. I've been drinking too damn much. It's time for the big voice to come in and say, hey, bro, shut the fuck up.
Yep.
I'll run this place.
Get back to work.
You work for me, bitch. I sign the checks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if you can't have that conversation with yourself and you don't trust yourself to do it, you are in trouble. You are.
Yep. And it all starts up here.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're both always going to be there, you know, unless you're superhuman. I think all of us have things that happen like bitch thoughts.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't make you a bitch. It makes you a bitch if you ignore the voice that's telling you what you should do.
Yeah. It makes you a bitch if you follow the bitch thought. If you listen to the bitch thoughts and actually like do what they're telling you to do.
Right.
That's what makes you a bitch. It's like your actions are what make you a bitch.
And that's fucking quicksand. It's quicksand.
Because the thing, like, you can control your actions. Because people think that a lot of people kind of associate themselves with their thoughts. They think they are their thoughts.
Yeah.
And this is wrong, because if you were your thoughts, then who the fuck is the one listening to the thoughts?
Right.
You're the one listening to the goddamn thoughts.
Right.
The thoughts are just these things that fucking pop up in your brain from time to time. Right? I'm obviously not talking about like deliberate conscious thoughts, like what's 1 + 1 = whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking like this shit that creeps in your mind, like these doubting voices, or these like, man the fuck up and get this kind of voice. Right?
And yo, man.
But you aren't either of them.
No.
You're the sum of the actions that you take.
You're in the center of them basically commentating the situation. Oh, you need to shut up, fuck up, let's go. You know, I'm a big proponent of information diet and guarding the gates of your mind. You know, let's say I'm at my family's house and it's Thanksgiving, and I'm hearing my family, which was poor, tell my little sister or my niece or nephew, you know, it takes money to make money. Or God, that's expensive, like in a real deep Southern drawl, not like mine. And it to me, it bothers the shit out of me, because I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it and I'm like, they're listening to that garbage because they don't know how to guard the gates of their mind yet. And I can't sit there as a cousin, uncle, brother, whatever, and be like, yo, in front of everybody, yo,
cut that shit out.
XYZ person is full of shit. Don't listen to them. I'll tell you what I did do this year, though. And I thought it was fucking hilarious. My little sister made straight A's. She has like a 4.2 GPA. I don't even know how the fuck that happens. I never made a 4.0 in my whole life. But to make a point to her, I brought my company's P&L to the house, and her report card was on the refrigerator, and I put my P&L next to it. And I said, who do you want to listen to now?
Yeah.
Me or your teachers? She had to smile, bro.
That's right.
She had to smile. And I would say for anyone, you know, if you know somebody that's doing well, I'd listen to that person that's been out in the real world, that's not talking all this theory shit, and say, hey, who do I really want to listen to?
I mean, we talked about that yesterday when you were saying you kind of have a bit of a gripe and a beef with these guys who, like, all these really young guys who are on YouTube and stuff, trying to like blah blah blah, like CEO, fucking like I'll teach you how to be rich. I'll teach you this. I'll teach you how to run a business. And you're like, these guys, you're like 23. You haven't fucking run a business. You haven't paid payroll.
No.
You don't have people who have a mortgage depending upon you
Absolutely
to make
not.
sure the bottom line is there.
Absolutely not.
So they can feed their goddamn families.
Right.
That's a CEO. That's running a business. That's
Right.
someone who's like in charge of this. And by the way, if anyone, I'm not taking the piss out of my friend Fresh Prince CEO for this. By the way, that's a totally different thing. He
absolutely loves you.
His is an acronym. It's control every opportunity, which is
Yeah.
different. Anyway, I want to make that point clear.
Yeah, he does love you, bro.
But that's what you were saying. That's what you were saying.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's like it's absolute fucking bullshit. You know, when people come work for me, they have to tell their wife that they're making the right decision by coming to work for me. And every Friday, like fucking clockwork, I have to sign a large portion of money over to those families.
Yep.
In order for them to pay their bills, feed their kids, clothe their kids, love their wife, the whole fucking thing.
Yep.
And so they got these kids out here, they're 22, 23 years old, can't even read a fucking P&L, doesn't know the difference between a debit or a credit. Talking about CEO University. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up, dude. You know? It's like, you're not done with puberty yet. You know? And
You fucking tell him, Justin. You tell him.
hey, bro, look, man, if I'm not saying that having a small business and staying small can't be successful. I'm just saying, unless you either have years of legit and you can show some receipts, because I got a bunch of years I can show you losing my fucking ass, bro. Losing my ass